Tonight, an update on the measles outbreak.
And the latest on the University of Idaho emergency alert scare.
Murrow News 8 starts now.
From the Northwest Public Broadcasting Studios on the campus of Washington State University, this is Murrow News 8.
Good evening, I'm Malou Santos.
And I'm Kanara Heinke. Welcome to Murrow News 8.
There are officially 40 confirmed cases of measles in the Pacific Northwest. There are 38 people with the virus. In Southwest Washington, one in Portland and one in Seattle. Most of the confirmed patients are children 10 years old and younger. Out of the 40 cases, 34 of patients have not been vaccinated prior to the epidemic. In response to the outbreak, Governor Jay Inslee has declared a state of emergency. The Federal Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have been in contact with the state and local officials.
No TSs.
On Friday, Washington state lawmakers introduced a bill that would eliminate personal exemptions from the measles vaccine. State Representative Paul Harris is sponsoring the bill, claiming it would get rid of personal exemptions but would leave health and religious exemptions intact. The bill is seeing early oppositions as some believe that further research needs to be done in regards to a possible link between vaccinations and autism.
Another outbreak affecting the Northwest is a string of citizen reports of wolf activity in areas surrounding Stevens County earlier this month. We reached out to Craig Bartlett with the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife and asked him what risks these wolves pose to citizens in and around the inland Northwest. Bartlett got back to us saying that most threats from the state's growing wolf population is more towards livestock. In 2018, wolves killed or injured 33 cattle compared to 2016, where only 8 cattle were harmed. Bartlett also told us that in the past 60 years, there have been 2 wolf-caused human fatalities in North America, none of which occurred in Washington state. A University of Idaho chemistry professor died suddenly late Wednesday afternoon on campus in Malcolm Renfrew Hall. University spokeswoman Jody Walker says the cause of death of Professor Thomas Bitterwolf is unknown. According to the school newspaper, The Argonaut, the professor was involved in community events with students. The university's president, Chuck Staben, also stated in an email sent to faculty, staff, and students this morning that the passing of a Vandal family member can understandably have significant impacts on those left behind. There are no plans for a university-wide event for Bitterwolf at this time.
Yesterday, we told you about the emergency alert scare at University of Idaho. Today, the president of the university issued a statement over the last 24 hours that has been a whirlwind of backlash at the University of Idaho. Idaho from fired journalism professor Denise Bennett after she was suddenly fired over a dispute with fellow colleague, prompting a university-wide emergency alert. On January 24th, Bennett was barred from entering the campus based on profanity, but without knowledge she was on administrative leave. Bennett responded to the sudden statement with a Facebook Live video late Wednesday afternoon with backlash against the university and its process of now firing her. We reached out to her about the video and a no response was given. She is not the only one providing backlash to the university. Students Wednesday night and Thursday morning marched in front of the university to combat the issue. The president then issued a second warning today, also stating that the university alert contains specific information about Ms. Bennett, which may have seemed an unusual level of detail for such a communication. Ms. Bennett's public conduct in recent days and information we have received from law enforcement raised concerns about the safety of our campus community. Knowledge that students would gather at noon in the administration building to protest the university's actions and uncertainty around Ms. Bennett's whereabouts of whether she would attend the protest increase the seriousness of these concerns to a level which have given rise to alert. We believe the situation to be very serious and the information relevant and important to convey the reality of our concerns to the community. So far, no investigation has been reported for the issue. Bennett has been with the with the university's firing process. When we come back, a recall that could affect grocery shopping.
And how WSU is dealing with their debt when Murrow News 8 continues.
Listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun? Whoa, 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 can you feel the sun?
A major food company issued a mass recall of its products because federal officials found a harmful substance in one of its products. Tyson Foods is recalling over 36,000 pounds of its Tyson White meat panko chicken nuggets because the FDA have found traces of a rubbery substance in a specific batch. The affected lot is what's on your screen now. A new study shows that you may be giving your children drinks that have high levels of toxic metals. Consumer Reports tested 45 fruit juices and found that 21 of them had mercury, arsenic, or lead well above the recommended FDA limits. The study shows that long-term exposure of the heavy metals can have a negative impact on children's developing brains and nervous systems. Among those brands that were tested were Minute Maid, Mott's, and Ocean Spray.
3 generations of student instructors and WSU alumni came together to relive memories and renew friendships. The life-changing student dietary co-op gathered last Saturday for the first time in its 41 years old program history. In cooperative university students, WSU students raise milk and manage their own herd of cows and calves at the university's Knott's Dairy Farm, gathering them on the job experience and skills to carry them in the future. The milk from the herd goes to the WSU Creamery for Ferdinand's ice cream and Cougar Gold cheese. WSU President Kirk Schultz announced that the university is ahead of schedule with trying to erase its operation deficit. In the latest letter to the faculty and staff, Schultz says that he expects to finish the current fiscal year at the end of June with less than $4 million in deficit spending. Recent investments in expanded classroom space, the new medical college, construction of new athletic facilities, and other proprietaries require WSU to reduce operating spending. Schultz hopes that by the next fiscal year in 2020, Washington State's revenue will exceed its expense for the first time in 5 years. Next, we have your weather forecast.
And the latest on WSU sports when Murrow News 8 returns.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
The final design for runway changes are almost complete for the Pullman-Moscow Regional Airport staff members at the airport hoped the improvements to the runway will reduce 16 canceled flights they experienced this year due to wet and foggy weather. And the new runway will include an underground stormwater retention system for water on the runways that will help leave open space to avoid attracting water flows near the panels. In addition, the runway will implement technology to allow planes with advanced systems to land where there is less visibility due to fog in the runway. This includes planes from Alaska Airlines, the biggest source of traffic for the airport. Don't put your rain boots away or raincoats just yet. Canara comes to us now to talk about the chilly weather this weekend.
All right, everyone, let's take a look at today's weather. So for the rest of the evening, it's going to be pretty standard foggy. Temperatures will dip low right above freezing, but pretty standard fog and just clouds for the rest of the day. Not too much differentiation on that. However, tomorrow we are going to see a little bit of differences with the weather changing to some rain. So temperatures are going to stay about the same. However, we are going to see some drizzles, so you're going to want to grab your raincoats and your umbrellas if you want to stay dry. That's going to be the weather for tomorrow. If we're going to take a look at the state map now, so over on the west side, we are going to see mainly cloudy weather in and around the 50s, a little bit warmer than over in the central area of the state, where we're going to see temperatures a bit lower but cloudy as well. Over where we are on the eastern side of the state, it's going to be a lot of clouds. And then we're going to change it up for the weekly weather. So for Friday, we're going to see rain, Saturday rain as well. Sunday, it's going to get a bit interesting and start off snow for our week. Tuesday, it's going to be cloudy, and Wednesday, it'll get a bit sunny for us. That's all for the weather. Back to you, Malou, at the desk.
It was a rough one for the Cougs last night. What happened, Elijah?
Well, Malou, men's basketball suffered another huge loss last night, falling to UCLA by 20. Senior Robert Franks had 21 points, but it wasn't enough to overcome 5 double-digit scores for the Bruins. This is the Cougs' fourth loss in the last 5 games, and with only 1 win in conference, they sit at second to last in the Pac-12. Women's basketball travels to California this weekend to take on the LA Schools. The team is coming off a rough stretch of games against top 10 opponents. They'll be looking to pick up wins against UCLA on Friday and USC on Sunday. Tax season is getting into high gear. Coming up, we'll tell you exactly when that deadline is. Stay tuned.
Listen now, can you hear the bluebirds? Oh, look up now, can you feel the sun? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Can you feel the sun?
Thank you so much for watching Murrow News 8. See you tomorrow night. Are you guys good? We're good, yeah. Are we supposed to do this?